Good afternoon. Once again, I present the results of our group, how we can preserve the talents. That was a discussion with representatives of different circles. We need to evaluate the specifics of each of the sector in the programs like this. This is the result of our joint work, and I will listen then about any additional remarks from my colleagues. Well, there are no two different trends of the exiles. The trend of fast help when you need some push for the people to adapt in the local situation. And firstly, it's a language courses, and also when a person understands well that he will not continue in his own profession, he needs to have an opportunity to acquire another profession. And then we know that there are different programs. Youth of Belarus is one of them, and it will be approved for the short-term support, and one of the foundations also has such short-term histories, and we are now in negotiation with one of the donors to expand it. And this is a short-term urgent answer to the question what to do. The second part is a bigger block. This is a long-term support for the people from Belarus. And one representative of diaspora is also saying that there has not been any programs of support before, and based on their experience, the experience of the people who have lived here, we can establish such programs. And we're talking about people who are, as specialists, need to preserve their qualifications. For instance, if they're from academic sphere, they don't need to go and become, hairdressers, for instance. And we wouldn't like to lose them for the society. So such programs could include also the support of the centers uniting the specialists from different areas who unite the professionals in their own field. And this is the responsibility of big funds who are able to support by technical and other means. Secondly, what we wrote here is the fellowship of two types. One is in the academic area, when the researcher is able to go to some university for the research and studies, or write an article. And second is the fellowship as support for professionals who work individually. And a simple example is the human rights activists. If we look at such people in post-Soviet region, in Asian countries, for instance, who are exiled by the state when they cannot develop themselves, they're marginalized in their own countries, and not to become really mad people, they are able to do what they have done before with the support. Within Belarus, it's very difficult right now because we can see how the state looks at any funding coming from abroad. But this is pertaining to the persons who live today in exile abroad. And this is what we can see, how we can support the people in order not to let them marginalized and getting out of the context. and to inspire them to remain in the Belarusian context. And at the end, I'd like to cite one of the members of our group who said that in 2020, when we started the changes, and some people who were well socialized in the Western society, they started to think about how to come back to Belarus, though they didn't have anything in their country. So I'm not afraid of the people socializing here in the Western society. We will not lose them. They will be active when it's really necessary. And there are many nations in which diaspora is bigger by the size than in the country of origin, like in Armenia, for instance. And they show their unity, their financing initiatives, and all around support for the native country. And Belarus is no exception, I believe. While our scheme is pinned up, I'd like to add something on behalf of your group. I believe that it's important to know that the Ukrainians are saying that we need to get ready for post-war period. And for the Belarusians, it's important for us to be ready for the moment of going back home, when we start to rebuild our correct political institutions. And it's important to get to start to get ready right now. Among our people here abroad, and I believe we lack such type of programs. There are different people in this room, and it's important that the Belarusian people get ready for this time when they go back to their own country, to understand what is local municipality, how the state institutions work in Western democratic countries. And definitely we feel the lack of such programs. And really we see that there are competent people who went abroad. They're pushed out of the country. That's why we need to use this period of time for them to get ready and take over the Western experience. And our topic is like that. During the war of Russia against Ukraine, what are the expectations of the Belarusian people towards the people in exile at Tsikhanovskaya and other leaders and other structures abroad? Well, we were thinking about that question, and we're not sure how we could diagnose how it was before and what we suggest. We divided it into two paths. How we understand what happened, what expectations we had towards opposition, just to use this term. Those expectations that Svetlana Tikhanovskaya and Belarusian opposition would have a dialogue, equal dialogue with Ukraine, with Zelensky, and then to really be together in understanding Lukashenko's regime and stay in contrast to this regime. So we had this expectation to be equal with the Ukrainian state against Lukashenko, but it didn't happen. And then there was an expectation there would be a kind of structure of the anti-war movement. There would be a kind of alternative state institution to start a new way of uniting those forces, to establish a cabinet, and to be the leaders of anti-war movement. It looks like it didn't happen. We didn't succeed, but well, we'll see. And the geopolitical choice, expectation from opposition. So since 2020, until the war in Ukraine, it was thought that we could kind of play with Putin's regime. But after the war started, there was a clear understanding to have a choice and to go away from this maneuvering before the war. And there was expectation that the opposition could really solve the problems of Belarusians abroad. And we can see that there is no such administrative resource. And there was an expectation that the opposition could help the people within Belarus. And there was a trigger in terms of the war. So probably there was an expectation within the society, and most people agree with that in a group, that Belarusians within the country would mobilize facing the war with Lukashenko's regime role in it. And our suggestions actually come out of these expectations. So we believe that it's worth to react and act for us as opposition, in terms of Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, Pavtushko, and others. And we articulate our position towards Ukraine and the war in Ukraine. And our discussion here was very heaty. And we had two scenarios here. It looks like we follow one of them. So we had a discussion like this. Either we get away from it and say that this is Belarus, and this is Russia, and this is Ukraine. And we're saying that we are against Russia but with Ukraine. Or we say that Belarus is not equal to a regime of Lukashenko and Russia is not a regime of Putin. And we do not get together with a regime, but we cooperate with the people of those countries. And we believe that in our different structures we articulate the second position. And then there is also a discussion, like in the first panel, that this is not very clearly defined. And a separate discussion was about the topic of the choice of values. There's a war, and our attitude towards it, and also the choice of Belarus with respect to Belarusians and Belarus. If we talk today about European values and European state, that what kind of values we talk about? What do we want to build? So we believe that it's important to talk about it, not focus about war alone, but what is the choice for Belarusians. And here it looks like we are speaking about the national idea, and many people are afraid to talk about it. But this is what it is in general terms. And then it's about mobilization of the structures of civil society and coordination of interactions. So we can start from ourselves. If we can mobilize the society and determine its directions so that the activists are active, then it's critically important for the structures and the leaders and for the leader and the environment to mobilize themselves and coordinate their activities. And it looks like it's a very concrete requirement. And we also singled out mobilization, interaction, because it's important to understand what we're doing. And then we need to talk about the interrelation between these points. And the last, but not least, is the comprehension of realities. And we have the opposition, Tsikhanouskaya, Tushko, and others, and there are other structures of Belarusians, democratic structures as a category, and diaspora as in general. And it's critically important to have the interaction among these sectors. In this period when we have the war, we have the choice of values, a long-term distance, and there is frustration growing, so that those worlds have to interact. And that's it. Maybe somebody wants to act something from our group.
So, last group, Christopher Forst, Friedrich Ebert Foundation. Maybe in this case not so bad that it's not a Belarusian presenting, because the question was actually how to address the international community, or how to make clear to the international community that Belarus is not only be seen as an aggressor in the war in Ukraine, but that there's also Belarusian democratic forces who have a clearly different view and stance. I'll try to be clear and focused and short, because actually our main message is also to be clear and focused. So I'll try not to take too much time, but reduce it to the main point. Some things may be repeated to what has been said already. That is the case if you're the last to present, but I'll try to make it clear. So actually our 2 points to break it down were you should focus your efforts and you should focus your communication. And focus your efforts in this case means make clear that Belarusians are really standing by Ukraine's side, and that can mean we need more Belarusian fighters in Ukraine actually. And this can also mean that there has to be some sort of mobilization, which has already been mentioned during the day actually. Anyways, it has to be these clear points that make sure that there are efforts to support Ukraine, be it buying a drone, as Jakob suggested, or other very clear points that make sure that people understand this message. Because right now, if we're getting the updates about what's happening in what Belarusians are doing to support Ukraine, it's often very small things that are not so easy and clear to communicate, and thus this message may also not come across as clear as it can be. But the first point always has to be that really things are being done. As I already mentioned, that can mean more fighters actually in Ukraine, and it can also mean more other kinds of support. There is obviously already done a lot of support, but these big support measures that are really can be portrayed well and that really show that something is being done are sometimes still missing in our view. And then the second point, really communicate clear to the international community. A starting point is to keep engaging with Ukrainians. Having a representation in Ukraine is certainly important, especially these days, whether it has to be an OST representation or just a representation of the Belarusian democratic forces, so that it's clear that they are there. Keep engaging with Ukrainians, no matter the prejudices that may be existing on the Ukrainian side, but have this long breath. But also have your clear communication scheme vis-a-vis international community. For example, if there are findings that of Belarusians in Poland or Lithuania or wherever, far more than 90% don't support the war, or actually basically almost 0% support the war. If you had in 2020 Sasha 3% as a campaign, then maybe it's Russia 0%. Yeah, but this sort of also towards the countries that Belarusians are in right now, this sort of clear messages. There is no support among the Belarusian people for Russia's war against Ukraine. We have a clear stance, and Belarusians are not only aggressors, but Lukashenko's regime is co-aggressor. This should be the key message, and this is what we said one should focus on. This can be done in many ways, obviously. Research, different sort of exchanges, but the messages have to be clear in the end of the day.